Just want to say welcome to all our followers and the viewers for tonight. You know, it's very good to be here tonight on another episode of Real Talk, Real Money with Dennis and Ian. And tonight, I'm so happy to be in the company of these two Olympian, Mr. Davian Clarke, and as we know, Dennis, who is hosting. Dennis will definitely give us an introduction to Davian, who is no stranger to this platform, coming on from time to time. But Dennis, we just ask that you take it away and give Davian a big welcome to Real Talk, Real Money.
All right, so thanks again, Ian. Appreciate it. Today we are joined by Olympian and World Championship medalist Davian Clarke, a standout in Jamaica's proud track and field tradition. As more Caribbean athletes train and compete abroad, even switching national allegiance, questions arise about the future of Jamaican athletics and national identity. Drawn from his experiences as both on and lead sprinter and mentor, Davian shares his insight on his journey, the strength of Jamaica's athletic pipeline, and what's needed to keep our talent thriving under the black, green, and gold. Welcome, Davian. Happy to have you here on Real Talk, Real Money with Dennis.
Hey, Dennis. How you doing, Ian?
All right,
Thank you.
so
Good
we're
evening.
gonna, we're gonna talk about career and personal journey. What first inspired you to pursue sprinting, and how did your early days, say in Jamaica, shape your development as an athlete?
Well, I started track and field actually in high school. Unlike most young athletes who ran age group and stuff like that, I was an active child, but I wasn't in competitive athletics. The first time I saw the national stadium was when I ran class 3 for Kingston College as boys and girls champs. Um, Before that, I was active in primary school, but nothing organized. Just running around, playing in the yard, doing manual labor. Polishing the floor, shining the floor, and dusting, and running up and down, picking mango, and just doing what most normal Jamaican children do on a day to day. But nothing specific about athletics. I always knew I was fast because I was fast in primary school, in prep school. I was one of the fastest people. But as far as organized sports is when I got to Kingston College and I tried out for the track team. That's when I discovered my talent. And actually, when I started, I was running the 1 mile run, and they thought that I was really strong. So when I came out to the track team, I think they wanted to make me an 800 runner. They put me with the 800 group. My first workout was 4 600s. So that's how I started track and field.
And that's how it started.
Yes.
Um, can you walk us through your experience representing Jamaica at major international events, um, like say the Olympics and the World Championship?
Yes. So as I moved through the high school ranks, I started to realize that I was better at the 400 meters. It wasn't my first love. I wanted to do other sprint events, but I kind of use my brain a little. I was a little bit more cerebral, and I noticed that a lot of Jamaican sprinters, 100-meter runners, always sustain leg injuries. So I knew if I wanted to make it to college, that I need to pick an event that I could stay healthy. And I think I made my first senior, well, not senior, but the under 20 team when in the 4x4 at the 1991 Pan Am Games, running the 400. I was 15 years old. So I kind of locked in on the 400 and said, this is the best event for me that could take me into the future. And my goal was just to make it to college. It was my freshman year at college. I think halfway through the season, I ran 45 seconds for the first time. I ran 45.89. at the Big East Conference Championships, and I got a call from the J3A that said that I was close. I was the second fastest junior of all time, Michael McDonald being the number one. And my next race I ran 45:70, and I broke the Jamaica under 20 Jamaica junior record, and also was the third fastest or fourth fastest time for a Jamaican that year. That was 1995, going to the World Championships. And so at that point is when it kind of my eyes opened to a new world outside of only doing track and field or being a sprinter at the college level, which, like I said, that's as far as I had thought it out, because I've seen people running the Olympics, and Jamaica's team was up there to me. So I never saw myself as being an Olympian or making it to the World Championships, not yet anyway. And so my freshman year in 1995, attending University of Miami, once I saw that my time was good enough to make the Jamaica team, I was about a month from trials, then my brain started to shift and started to see that there was more to this thing than I thought.
Yeah, Ian, you have a question?
Okay, Davian. So before you get too far, I want to just rewind the tape just a little, and we want you to take us back to KC and tell us something about KC that set athletes, and the standard that KC is always one of those schools, especially when it comes down to boys champs, who is always, I would say, in the top 5. Just tell us something about KC that sets them apart, and your program there that would have set you up to start representing Jamaica from such a tender age.
Yes, indeed. I have to thank Kingston College for giving me the opportunity to join the team. Actually, when I joined the team, they wanted to kick me off after the first week because they thought I was one of the slowest people at the school. So it was very challenging. I had to overcome a lot of, but it's just like anything that you do in life. Whether you're going to a 9-to-5 job, your supervisor don't want you to. They want you to come to work, but they don't want you to do such a good job. You outshine them and take their position as being supervisor. So when I was at Kingston College, starting off running, it was challenging the first couple of years, and that was because of my training age. So training age is how many years you have been doing a sport. And so, like I said, that was my first time in organized practices, coming to practice every day. My body was sore. Everything was too much for me. Lifting weights, I never lift weights in my life. They put 200 pounds on the rack and say, hey, you need to squat. I said, man, 13 years old, man, you mean 200 pounds? I said, man, everybody have to do 10 reps or you can't be on the team. I was like, really? I didn't know that them was trying to see if I was going to, but I made it through, did a couple of reps, and but the thing about Kingston College, at the time on the team, there was a lot of national representatives who went to the Carifta Games, and so me seeing these guys coming back wearing their Jamaica gear, seeing them on TV representing Jamaica, winning medals for our country, and hearing their name on the radio and seeing them on the TV, they kind of inspired me, because I'm training with these guys every day, so I know if I just stick with it and try to learn something from them, then I can make it to the next level. So I think that's one of the things about Kingston College. When you're there, they put so many athletes on the Jamaica juniors teams, and that kind of inspire you, because if my classmates on the team, I train with this person every day, I know, hey, I definitely see myself as being able to achieve those goals. And so that's kind of the mentality that I kind of gain confidence from training with so many Jamaican representatives. Jazeel Gale, who used to run the 100 meters for KC, who was on the Carifta team, some discus throwers, and some other 400 hurdlers and other guys. So those are what inspired me. And then myself, the younger ones that came in after me, they saw me doing so well for Team Jamaica, winning gold medal at the Carifta Games. And so that inspired them. So now I had to step up my game, because not only was I reaching for the star, but now I had to lead other people. I turned myself into a leader now, leading younger student athletes at my alma mater at KC and inspiring them to make the Jamaica team and to and explain to them that this is more than just running at boys and girls champs. You can actually get a college education paid for and have an opportunity to help uplift your family through education.
All right, Davian. While we are on that topic, back in school, schoolboy athletics, I would
Yes.
want you to tell us, because people don't know, it's always a challenge. It's uphill battle. Some people have to run the hurdles, which it's barriers, and you have to overcome them. But in your schoolboy days, what would you say was one of your toughest obstacle that you had to overcome, and how did you get through it? Just to guide the youngsters who are now coming up and look at the sports and want to get into it.
Yes. Well, I think that just the getting used to training every day, and eating right and getting enough sleep. For me, I lived. I live all the way. I live in Spanish Town, not all the way, but Spanish Town. So I was commuting to Kingston College daily. So definitely, you know, making sure I get up early in the morning, eat breakfast, get enough liquids, and head to practice. And during the day, taking care of academics and making sure I still eat lunch so that I have energy for practices, and then making time to study and making it home in time to start back the next day. But adjusting to daily practices was one of the toughest things for me. And then after and then as a young man or a young woman, when you're growing, your body is developing. So not only are you training every day, but your body is growing. Because when I started off, I think I was like 125 pounds, 5'7", and by the time I left Kingston College, I was like 5'11", 160 pounds. So there was a big gap there where I'm getting taller, and then they're introducing weight training to me, and then I'm squatting 300 pounds, bench pressing 150 pounds. So your body is sore. I felt like my shoulders were sore every day, and my calf was tight every day. I didn't feel like I could sprint when I was in high school. Is after I left high school that I felt like, you know what? I think no, I could sprint. I still ran, and I ran fast. I broke the boys champs record, but I thought that my body could have given more. So that's the hardest part I think about it. Just understanding that you're going into full-time training that your body is not used to, and then adjusting that to where your body is also changing, and you're growing and developing along the way. So those were the mental part. It's tough, but I don't think that was as tough as the physical challenges that you go through the first couple of 3 years when you start at 13 years old in Jamaica and training.
Okay. All right. Well, well done. I'm sure you have some memorable moments through your track and field career. What are some of those memorable moments?
Well, the biggest accomplishment I've ever had, if you can say my signature, say I was an Olympian in 1996, making it to my first Olympics. So making it to my first Olympics and actually getting an opportunity to win a medal, coming away with a medal, that was, looking back, that was my proudest moment, holding that bronze medal. It was challenging because, we had some mishap in the race and one person fell. So at one point in time, I didn't think we were going to get a medal. But then looking back afterwards, a couple of years later, I realized that I didn't medal or I wasn't on the team at the other Olympics. So that one medal is the only medal I have from the Olympics. So it was one of my biggest accomplishments and only time I've ever won a medal. So I'm very proud of my 1996 Olympic medal. But also overcoming some of the pressures of track and field, because I competed, I made the finals at the World Indoor Championship, made the finals at the Olympics twice individually, but I never won. It was hard to win that elusive individual medal. So finally getting a medal in 2006. So from 1996, my first Olympics, first World Championship, 1995, but winning a medal in 2006, 10 years later, that was also something that kind of capped my career, being able to win that medal. And that was a very hard thing to do, making it to a world level competition and getting an individual medal for Team Jamaica is a very big deal. A lot of people don't realize that our country is only 2.5 million competing against countries like Nigeria, Nigeria is going to hit 400 million in the next 10 years. 400 million is more people than the US has. And Nigeria has only won one gold medal at the World Championships outdoor. One
Man,
gold medal. And
yeah,
look at the success when you think about Nigeria. And then add in Jamaica, how many medals? I can't even think of how many gold medals we have
yeah,
at
it's
World
true.
Championship. We have to start counting to kind of figure out. But I know it's more than 10, and I know it's
Yeah,
more than 20.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
that's true.
you know,
I want to kind of go back to the
yeah,
1996 Olympics. I
yes,
know. I want you to tell us, right? Knowing the fact that you were going to be the anchorman for that relay, what was it that was going through your mind at that time? Because seeing Gregory Harton doing an acrobatic popalik, as we would say in Jamaica, type of move, and roll over.
yeah.
I honestly can say that I don't know if it was me if I would get up and run again. You know what I mean? But for him to do that, I think it says a lot about him and his spirit for track and field. And not only that, but also for team spirit, teamwork. As
Well,
the anchor man, how did you feel? Because you actually saw it, right? You're right
yes.
there. Yeah.
Well, so it, so there's two perspective. At the moment, perspective, and no looking back at it.
Hmm.
No looking back at it, I'm very thankful for Gregory for doing what he did and getting up and still going out there and run a good leg, because that's the only medal I ever have from the
Yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so
So
we so so we need to tell him thanks. Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
oh, no, I tell him thanks all the time, and I've told him thanks before, and I thank everybody on the team, all you guys, that help to get us that medal, because after I ran 4 rounds of 400 at that 96 Olympics, my body was completely numb in the 400 finals. So if I had to run some of the rounds, I don't think I would have anything left to run that final.
I know.
Yeah. So having teammates like yourself and Garrett and all the other people who are on the team who were able to come in and help make the finals and still get us a good lane, because as you see now, Team Jamaica 4x4 making the final is not a guarantee.
That's a
But when
guarantee.
we were competing, we acted like, hey, we're supposed to medal every time,
Every time,
because
yeah.
that's how our mindset is. And Jamaica, the country, acts like the 4x4 should medal all the time, but
All
they
the
don't
time.
realize how difficult it is. And
Mhm.
so afterwards, looking back, it was awesome, all the things that he did. But in the moment, standing there when I saw him fall, I just buried my face in my hands, and I looked down on the ground and I said, oh man, I can't believe we let this opportunity escape us. But
Yeah.
then I looked up and then I saw that we were still in third place, and they were ushering me on the track. And I'm looking down the backstretch and I'm saying, we're not in last. And so that was what was going on in my head. I thought we were in last because I
Mhm.
buried my head. So I didn't see that he got up just as he fell, and that
Yes.
he was back in the race. So when I saw him running down the backstretch, he was on third leg, and I saw that we were in third, and I looked behind him and I said, man, these guys are way behind. They're not gonna catch us. But then I
Yeah.
said, we are so far behind. I said, man, I wonder if I could catch the second place team. So when he was coming in with the baton, I kind of, not that I know that we had it secure, but I felt like, we have a bronze medal, and that all I needed to do was do my job, execute
Mhm.
right, and we could come home with a medal. And
That's
I
it.
haven't watched the Olympics before at home, and watching it on TV with my family, and seeing the team Jamaica get DQ'd and not winning a medal from the Olympics before,
Mhm.
I
I
knew how
understand.
special that moment was, and I really wanted to make that happen for our country, bringing home a medal for the men's
Yeah.
side at those Olympics.
Yeah, man. You know, I think I need to tell him thanks too. I tell other people that I need to tell him thanks, but I think
Yeah.
I really do need to tell him thanks, and I plan to do that soon. Great, great. So let's talk about how did training and studying at the University of Miami impact your growth as an athlete? Because I know what people don't know is that it's pretty much a job when you take a scholarship and come abroad.
Oh yeah.
They don't understand that it's a job, that you can lose a scholarship, that you have to maintain a certain GPA and all that type of thing. Take us through that.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's much different than high school because in high school you still had to do your work. However, like you said, in college, it's a little bit different because they tell you exactly where you need to be. You know that you have to have a 2.5 GPA. Some teams say you have to have a 3.0 GPA, you know?
Mm,
So there's standards and every team and their coach set the standards. So it's not just the NCAA set a standard that if you're below a certain GPA, you're ineligible and you can't compete for your team and you could lose your scholarship, like you said. But there's also, say you're in like a very good big academic school like University of Miami or Harvard University, and they want a team GPA of 3.5. So the whole team is dependent on you to come through to have a 3.5 GPA. So there's pressure from your teammates and the coaches and the athletic department. And so it's hard going to class, being one of the first generation in my family to go to college, go to a university, 4-year university, and then knowing that I have to take care of business academically. I'm going to be one of the first people in my family to graduate with a college degree, but then also knowing that I have responsibility carrying the flag for Jamaica. So I have to train, I have to rehab, I have to make sure I fuel my body and preparing for that in the summer as well. So there's a lot of things pulling. But when I was in college, this was my focus. My focus was I just wanted to graduate, knock out school as fast as I can so I could become a professional track runner.
okay, and that that
So
that
so
that
I wasn't
competitiveness.
worried about I wasn't worried about not passing.
Hmm.
I thought
Yeah.
I could get the academic stuff done, and I think if I was more focused on my academics, I could have had a better
That
GPA.
better GPA.
But I was just I was just doing not the bare minimum because some of those classes that I took. Oh man, I took a statistic math class. I still remember that class to this day. It was a 6 credit class. Class was like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I would have a 15-minute break in between, and everything I saw in that class gave me a headache. I was like, man, I must be studying to become a doctor. So it was very challenging, especially some of the classes that I took in the business school. I was in management, and it was after I graduated that I realized that all of my courses the last 2 years were all master level courses, and that
Mm,
I'm the only one in those classes that didn't have an MBA. I didn't find that out until graduation day. They said
evaluation day.
school
Mm,
of management stand up, and I stand up and I look over. I was like, man, there's only like 4 of us standing up. And then it's the
yeah.
NBA students stand up, and I see everybody that I sat with in class standing up. I'm like, I'm the only one that got an undergraduate degree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those courses was really tough. The professors were really stringent, and I wasn't paying attention because a lot of that stuff I didn't even realize was that serious. But I learned a lot, especially about business, that I think has prepared me for now where I'm in my life. But I also learned a lot that are things that I could use in track and field to help me to compete better and to understand um, people and how to talk with management and CEOs of Nike and Puma and Adidas, and how to interact with people, business communication class. So how to structure a letter to ask for help whenever you need to get some help at the professional level. So a lot of those things I picked up from there that I was able to use in my life to help my path better.
Absolutely. Ian, you have a question.
Yeah, yeah, Davian. So I heard you, clearly it was a lot that you had to do there, in terms of athletics and academics, But then there's that personal life, We have heard from so many athletes going overseas, just that transition from Jamaica going overseas, different climatic condition, different environment, totally, financial problem. I want to ask you how difficult, how challenging it was to have that balance that you were still able to compete and be among the best.
Yeah. Well, I don't even talk about that part, but it was challenging. I'm not going to say that I wasn't in better position than most because I did have family that were living in the U.S. So I had people that I could call on for more help if I needed help. But but there were sacrifices that have to be made. Some of the times when the cafeteria, when you live on the dorm, and the cafeteria closed, especially on most weekends, any holiday, there's no cafeteria, so there's no food, and you don't have access to kitchen, so you can't cook any food. So you have to have cash in order to survive. And so you have some family members that you're going to stay with, or you're going to have somebody that has to support you and send you some type of funding, whether it be the federation, but the federation responsibilities for the national team members, so you can't help every athlete that's there. So then the school, your high school that you graduate from, the alumni from there or family or friends have to help you. But I remember a couple nights not having food while I was in college, you know but it wasn't like I didn't have food, like I was going to starve. But I do remember going to bed without a meal 1 or 2 nights before. But you just have to kind of live within your means and budget and plan. And sometimes for our athletes, when they travel and go over, they don't realize that gap in December. They're like, well, I'm not going to go to Jamaica. I'll stay there and train. That there's no cafeteria, and I'm going to have to provide financially for myself. And that's one of the most challenging parts, that gap in December, the 15, 20 days where you don't have no scholarship or anything like that. So that's very challenging. And also the gap during the summer, because during the summer, if you're not in summer school, you don't get any funding at all there. So
Right.
you have to either find a job which you can't work because you don't have any visa, any
Right.
work visa.
Anywhere these are
So you
true.
need support, and somebody have to kind of pull you through and give you that help. And so if you're not prepared for that, or you don't have somebody to call on to help you, that can be quite challenging. And
Yeah,
especially I'm sorry for some of the kids that go to schools far away, like on the West Coast, because it's going to cost them about $1,500 to fly back. And
right.
so that's not feasible.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you're talking about you know,
Struggles.
the kind of struggles and stuff like that, because what happened is that I said it all the time that the Jamaican public is not aware of the challenges that athletes who you know go on a scholarship and come away. They don't understand that it's not a bed of roses, and they see you come back home and they feel like you make it and stuff like that. But they really don't understand. So I'm glad you're saying that as well. But we're gonna jump from that now to the migration of Jamaican athletes, right? So over the years, right, we have seen many Jamaican athletes. They leave to study like we did, and they compete for other countries. From your perspective, what drive this trend? What is it that drive this trend?
Well, to be truthful, when we were running, we had a lot of people that switched. But I think social media is making it bigger now, where a lot more people are noticing it. You can agree, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
so people are getting a chance to comment with social media now. When we were younger and people were switching, people wasn't really having a public forum to comment on, and hey, why is this person leaving? Are they getting paid? Or people just switch, and then all of a sudden next year you see them, they either marry somebody from another Caribbean island and they're running for St. Lucia or Bahamas or Canada, or they migrate to another country, go to college there, and then get married and decide, say, hey, you know what, I'm switching my allegiance. So I don't think it's anything strange. The one thing that makes this a little bit different is now that we're having potential medalists leaving and actual medalists leaving, especially Olympic gold medalists leaving. And
Hmm.
so that's why there's so much people involved in the situation now. But if you look, the way I look at it, and I try to be fair, I look online and I say Jamaica pickleball team recruiting pickleball players, and they're marketing to people overseas. I see our basketball team looking for NBA players who have Jamaican heritage. And then
Heritage.
I see
Wow.
our soccer team, our football team, they getting people from England and all different countries coming over. So the way I view it is, if it's okay for us to take players from UK to play soccer and fencing or whatever sport, tennis or whatever, then in track, no, we can't be upset that another country is getting our track people who are world renowned for being good in track and field. So we can't be upset with that part. No.
So I think this leads into a question. So do you feel that the athletes switching, right, switching their national allegiance is a reflection of limited resources or of opportunities at home?
No, but that's what I said. We have always had people switch. So
Yes,
this
we have
is
always had people switch,
yes,
but they're switching at a higher level now. We just talk
yes, yes,
about
yes,
Olympians and stuff. You might have athletes switching maybe out of high school or college, but
yes.
now, you know, I think it happened taking a more serious look at it now.
Well, so like I heard the government said I'm going to try to address it and try to see what they can do to kind of sway people from not making that decision. Um, but resources obviously plays in. So I used to be a college coach, American college coach, and that's one of the main reasons why athletes leave one school to go to the next school, because the other school has more resources financially that they think will help them, not either educational or athletically or financially. So those are the reason why the Jamaican team athletes are switching now, and switching from any country, not just Jamaica, but they're moving because they have better finances, they have better support, they have better you know things in place. I think some of the athletes named out some of the things they were offered or going to be offered
Yeah.
with their
Hmm.
new country, and so once you're in a position like that and you can, it's just like in the NFL, once you're in a position and you can get traded and that trade going to help you and your family move up, then there's nothing you can do. No, I know me and you, when we was running, we never attempted to switch or wanted to switch, but maybe there wasn't as much pressure from somebody that was interested in us that could make
Hmm.
it happen. Now we could have switched. Could have take the whole 4x4 and switch
That's
and win
rich,
a
yeah.
medal for any country in the world. We just need four young ladies from Germany or Sweden to get married to,
Yeah, I was just out of
or six.
here.
But uh, but 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 like I said, national pride is there, so people don't want people to switch. I don't want them to switch, but then it's more individualistic, because even when the athletes that I used to coach, when they decide they want to transfer, there's nothing I can do. Them and their parents talk and they make a decision, and we just have to live with it. It's just that we're seeing more of this in track and field now, and so it's strange to us. But I think over time we'll get used to it. That's what I think. But I don't know what we can do as a country, or what the government can do, or whoever can do to make the changes to try and hold on to some of these people. But you know,
Because I can see a domino effect. I say it all the time that I can see, and it's not just not athletes, it's also coaches too.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into development of track and field in Jamaica, right? Jamaicans high school track system, we know that is top tier, especially champs. It is world renowned, right? How crucial that system is in producing elite talent.
The Jamaican system. Oh, we have to we have to thank them. We have so many level 5 high school coaches or level 2 high school coaches. We have some really elite coaches, and that's a testament to GC Foster and all the other schools that we have, physical educational system that we have in our tertiary education system in Jamaica. So, and our coaches go all across. They go Germany, they go China, they go Russia, they go everywhere to train. And so when they bring back this knowledge from all across the globe, and then they're able to find young men and young women to implant this great knowledge to is the reason why we have such. That's why we're able to hit above our weight in track and field, only being a 2.5 million country population and competing with countries that have 300 million and a billion people and outperforming them. Uh, and so we have to give great thanks to the local coaching fraternity, the local coaching system, um, for developing all these coaches. But like you said, our coaches are going to get poached too, and the reason for this is we don't have enough resources to keep up with all the coaches we have in Jamaica. We don't have enough schools for them to work for. We have people who have level 2 certificate who are assistant coaches and stuff like that because they don't have opportunities. So there's a good and a bad thing that we are very qualified in that area. But one of the things, this is my idea, I wish like some of our other sports, like I'm not going to call out any, but I don't want to get cussed, but some of the other sports that we have, if they would hire a sprint or a speed coach on their staff, they would be so much better. I don't know how they haven't clicked onto that yet. I think they're in the old mentality thinking that just because their athletes are Jamaican, they're fast. That's not the reason we're fast. We're not fast because we're Jamaican. We're fast because we have elite coach, and them need to hire some of those coaches to come on and help them staff. Because it doesn't matter any ball sport that you play, if you're faster, you're going to be much
You're
better.
going to do absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just look at Danny McFarlane when he was running the 400 hurdles.
Yes.
I mean, he really can't hurdle well, but yet he's a medalist.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Ian, you have.
Hey, Davian.
Yes,
So
sir.
with all that journey and everything, we just want to ask you, how would you want your story to impact this younger generation?
Well, when I've been asked to talk a lot since my first Olympics, and I got to high school. I remember talking at KC, and I've been to other schools to talk. I've been to schools here in the U.S. to talk. And one of the things I always want is when I sit like I'm here talking to you, and talking about my life, my achievements, and my goal is just to impact one person. I'm just hoping that one thing that I said this evening, somebody can relate to it and say, I've been in that same situation, or I grew up in that same situation, or or whatever it is. Just take those words and see themselves like me, and flying the flag, and they can make it all the way to the top from wherever they are in the country and making it to the medal podium and being an Olympian, and they can write OLY behind the name like me and Dennis,
Yes,
and
sir.
list out all the years, and hopefully you'll get the benefit like we have of holding that medal, elusive Olympic medal in your hands. So that is my goal. My goal is just to reach one person where I can change their life, and it doesn't have to be athletic. I spoke about my academic journey in college. Maybe I can inspire somebody to go to my alma mater and attend University of Miami, or just go to
Mhm.
college, whatever it is. So that's my goal.
All right. So I'm gonna put you on the spot now. All right. So we're gonna take it down. If there's one message you would want a youngster to take away today, just one message from all that you have done, what would that be?
Well, like I said, throughout my journey, if you hear I spoke about University of Miami or my high school when I started running, or even as a professional, I didn't lead off the conversation by saying I was the fastest. I led off the conversation that said that I stuck with it, I worked hard, and I never gave up. And so that's what I want people to realize, that in life is not about talent. It's more about um, the people who have the mental fortitude of fighting and pushing and just doing like what we say in Jamaica. Just be a Jamaican and just work hard and don't give up. And as long as you keep grinding and working towards whatever goal you have set, then it will become achievable.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, David. So, um, Do you think there are ways for the Jamaican Athletic Federation or say the government to partner with athletes abroad to keep them connected? And how you think they should do that?
Well, I'm not in administration, so I can't write up no manifesto. Everybody lately, everybody been using these big words, manifesto. I don't even know what manifesto mean, but this is what I can say. I can say that um, we have a lot of human capital, a lot of talented individuals,
Mm-hmm.
and we just have to find a way to connect that talent with the administrative part. But you use a couple of words. You said the Jamaican Track and Field Federation, and I think when it comes to especially track and field in Jamaica, it falls under two umbrella. Well, more than two umbrella, but two major umbrellas. We have the JOA and we have the J3A. And everybody keep talking about track and field and all only talk about the JOA. But the JOA has a responsibility as well because they're the biggest organization, and so most of the Jamaica Olympic team is made up of track and field athletes. And so we have to talk about those two federations, what they can do as a whole in order to help our country succeed. And I talk to people all the time, and they say it's not the private sector's job to help. They think it's the JOA and the J3's job to take care of track and field. And so um, partnership, I think more partnership with the private sector, but how to go about getting private sector to feel like they should be involved and what kind of benefit they can get from partnering with those two federations in order to make changes and keep our athletes happy and keep us producing gold medal. Um, I don't know. Um, it, there's something called social media marketing that's going on right now, and so I think if I could give some advice on that, I would think that would be an area where we have to try to leverage some of the social media pull or draw that our athletes have and connect it with the federations so that they can leverage that and turn that into beneficial for private sector and athletes. And so that's one of the ways I think that we could do it. But like I said, I'm not an administrator. I don't know the ins and outs or how difficult that is or if it's even possible. But that's just me, a man on the
Mm,
sidelines thinking.
yeah, because I know, when you look at, like the United States, they would pull their Olympian athletes to either commentate or
Yeah.
represent, at some of these meets and stuff like that. And I think that is something that they could partner with the athletes that are not necessarily home but overseas as well, past athletes, because they have a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what
No,
would
what you said makes sense. We have athletes in almost former athletes in almost every state in the U.S. and we have current athletes who are either attending school or training overseas here in different places. So I'm sure there's a way, but all we can do is keep suggesting whenever you come up with an idea, write a manifesto and send it in to the people that make the decision and see if they'll listen to you or would take your idea. Which I'm sure we're all young. We all graduated from college. We have some great idea. We've been in this in this thing for many years, and we've seen how this works. And not just us, but there's other people out there that have some ideas. We just need to find a way to get everybody connected and run these ideas to figure out which is the best one, and then everybody getting behind that one idea that can lead us to more
so,
success.
so, so because you're on this point, so why you think that the Jamaican athletes, the professional athletes, they're afraid to speak up? Because from my own experience, I noticed even the people them that were before me, they have a high level of fear I mean, people who you think that should speak up, they didn't. One person that I can always talk about is Raymond Stewart. He was probably the only person, and maybe John Mayer. They were the only people that weren't afraid to speak up,
Yes.
and I think it's happening even now because I think they're afraid of being victimized or not. Um, even though they made the team, they could come up with some scenario to get them off because they might have said something and they didn't like it, that type of thing. And I
Well,
think we need to get past that.
yeah, but so they won't know how far they can push or what they can do unless they talk to the people who've been there before. So the names that you mentioned, unless the people on the team get a chance to talk to some of us, they won't know all the things that we were able to accomplish to change.
Hmm.
Because as far as they're concerned, they don't have any power, but them never see the power that we wield because it's not recorded on social media.
Yeah.
The athletes have power. Um, sometimes I talk to some of the athletes and they tell me all the stuff that's going on at the games and world championship. I say, man, y'all really let that happen?
Mm.
Man, that would never fly when we was there, boy. That's all I can tell you. But um, you know, it, so our jobs, just like the people that you mentioned before us, they mentored us and told us how things were when they were there and that they made sacrifices to make it better. And then we know that we have to stand firm on certain things in order for us to move forward. And so that's why we need an organization like I won't call any, but some
Mm.
type of athlete organization that works for the
For
athletes
the athletes. For the
and,
athletes.
and we have some. I guess maybe they need to be more visible at the Jamaica championships or through the year, going to different meets to make the young athletes know that this resource is available to you and we are here to support you and we can give you some information. Like me, when I used to run, I used to talk to Bert Cameron all the time. And he used to say, hey, when you're on the back stretch, you're not doing this. Bert Cameron was never my coach. I think me and Bert Cameron only do one workout together. That him almost
Mm.
killed me. But he gave me different advice about how to the technical parts of the 400 and how to go about
Mm.
racing it. And the same with Grace. Grace would do the same thing. Grace would come and say, Davian, I was watching you over there at the 200 and you're not doing this with your arms. And so I don't think the athletes that we have, no, they don't realize that they can approach us. And some of them don't even know anything about us. And that's one of the things I think on the younger generation, they need to do more research so that if they run into Dennis Blake, they know you're on site, know your PR on site, and can ask you something. They'll walk past you and don't even know that you're a medalist.
Right. So isn't that a problem though? Because I think that's
Oh
what I
yes,
think that I think that is a problem because the JOA and the J3s they do nothing for, I mean these athletes like you said don't even know who we are.
yeah.
And we were the trendsetters. They don't know who we are and I think
They
the
don't know whose
personally
record they're trying to break.
right. I think I think there's something wrong with that picture there. I always said, I really don't know the purpose of the JOA. Honestly, I don't know if they serve much purpose because again, that's just my take on that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, and, like I said, there's a lot going on. I'm happy to see that we're doing a training camp for our World Championships. As you know, when we used to compete, we only have training camps during Olympic year. So
Hmm.
hopefully they can get some bonding going on with the team. People can come to this next championship feeling fresh. The World Championships has been a site for a lot of world records in Tokyo. Every time we have a World Championships in Tokyo, we always have some great performances. So the facility and the track is going to be fast, and we're taking advantage of getting all our athletes there to work on their relays and their handoffs and their mental preparation. So I just hope and wish that we continue to pray and God go with them, and we'll have a lot of successes.
So, Ian, you have a question you want to ask?
Well, just that today, I was kind of scrolling down on Instagram, and I know, lately a lot of the men that have switched allegiance to other country, but just today I learned that it was probably official that Christiana Williams, and she would have been a finalist, Olympic finalist in the 100 meter, but she had switched to Austria. I want to know if this is gonna start have a catapult over the ladies them, because so I know I go on now, from the men them take center stage now. We see the ladies them I go one by one. I go on there.
Well, yeah, I saw that she switched. I actually met her at 26 Olympics. That's why I see on my logo, I say I'm Olympian 2016 Olympics. I was coaching for the Philippines, and we were at the Nike facility playing golf, and I met her there. Me and her was playing golf. And she's switching for Winter Olympics, I think. But, once you switch, you can't do anything. But like I said, there's opportunities out there, and everybody have to kind of weigh what's the best option for them. And once you weigh what's your best option for you, then you have to make a decision. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be switching from male, female, young and old. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. It's just that this too shall pass. But one of the things I look at is we just have to look at the trends of where we have been falling short. The most important thing is to get the athletes into the final, because if you're not in the final, you can't make medals. So we have a lot of areas that we have not been making finals. I don't think, and I might be wrong, but I don't think we have picked up a male 200 medal since Usain run the last time. So that is a drought. So maybe we need to start focus more on getting people in running the 200 meters and getting in the finals, so that they can have an opportunity to at least get back that medal. Even if we don't have one man like you saying that was winning 2 medals in 2 events, we can put one guy in the 200 and one guy in the 100. And so there's a lot of stuff we have to do from a management perspective. Don't be greedy and try to look for a double medalist, and just start being more strategic and placing people in individual events instead of doubling them up for no reason. Because this is the highest level of competition. There's very few people ever alive that can do 2 events at one Olympics or one World Championships, much less do 2 events and a relay.
All right, David, I have a question which gonna stream along that you were just saying a while ago. But with Williams, I don't think she's gonna get much bashing as the other male athletes. The fact that she's gonna do Winter Olympics and bobsledge, the fact that we don't have no ice in Jamaica, so I don't feel like she'll get much knocking.
Well, we have a bobsled team. She could have been.
We know about without the ice, so the people kind of see through that one.
But our national champion in the 200, she's on our bobsled team for Jamaica. Yep. So.
But you're talking about that 200-meter medal, Davian. You also mentioned, you're top coach, and you're not coaching Jamaica team, you're not coaching KC team. But do you see that future 200-meter gold medalist for Jamaica right now, or one that is basically being prepped for the near future?
Everybody know him. Of course, we see that guy out there running 19.6, 19.7. Yeah, man, that young man is very very talented, and he's going to do great things. But I am not his mentor. I'm not his coach. Don't ever talk to him. Don't know anything about him. Just a fan watching, and just kind of just like you were just cheering and trying to see us make a change, and hope that everybody does the right thing, or have the right foresight to do the right thing, so that we can get the best out of our team. So that's all I'm hoping for. But yeah, you can definitely see we have a lot of talent in the 200, not just that young man, but We have some young 200 runners that are coming up. I wish we
Right?
have some more men.
So you
I
think
wish,
that that could be the problem? That could be a wider problem. Why um, that that the committee or the organization have that type of mindset to say, well, if John Brown wants to leave, okay, no problem, because we have 10 more athletes coming behind that can fit right into the puzzle.
well, that was the mentality that said that when Usain quit, that we would have 10 more, and now we're realizing that we don't have 10 more because people thought that Usain, like they think Usain, you can just have another Usain Bolt. They didn't realize that he's a one in a generational athlete, somebody that could run 1, 2, 4 and could medal in all. He probably could have done any event on the track and medal in. So he was
Mm.
that talented. He probably could have played in the NBA if he was born in the U.S. or play American football.
Football. Hmm.
So you can't take that for granted, and you have to also start preparing for his transition. You know, and
Which
so
I
the
think,
preparation from his transition is being felt now because now we're realizing that we do have fast people that can run 10 flat and we have people that can run 9-9, but 10 flat and 9-9 might not make the finals and definitely not going to win gold. So we have to kind of go back to the drawing board and kind of look at what we can do to make sure that not only on the men's side but on the women's side that all these performances turn into gold. And it's very expensive to produce a world class sprinter, and we're realizing how expensive it is right now. They don't just fall off the tree.
hmm
I won't
hmm
say the numbers here, but it costs a lot of penny. And what's even more expensive than producing a world class sprinter is producing a world class sprinter that can keep doing it year after year. That's even more expensive.
hmm
And until we start figuring out a way how
Good.
to fix that
How
expense,
how would you say your Olympic journey?
yes.
Yeah, how would you say your Olympic journey influenced the work you do today in whatever that is? I know you were a coach before. I'm not sure if you're still coaching or not,
Yes.
but yeah, how does that influence what you do?
Well, like I said, it so what I'm doing now, I branched out into, instead of being a athletics coach, I'm more of a financial coach. I still am an athletics coach. In my free time, I work with some quarter milers and preparing them. And I have a couple of quarter miles that I used to work with that represent Jamaica and different countries, 400 hurdles as well. But I've moved into the financial landscape, more of a financial coach. What I'm doing now, I'm setting up 401k for small businesses. And it's just like anything else. You have to be determined, you have to work hard, you have to get up early, and you have to be persistent. And people have to know that they can rely on you. So some of the things that I can take away from track and field is that people look at you, and based on the image that you reflect, that
Hmm.
is how they decide if they want to work with you in business. And they have to know that they can count on you, that you're not going to run away with their paycheck, and that you're trustworthy. And
Yeah.
so in order to gain trust, you have to be on time, and you have to show up week after week, month after month, year after year. And so the things that I learned from getting up early in the morning and training and working through pain, that's what I use in my real job right now. Make sure that I'm a dependable person. When people call me, I reply to them, and just being a consistent person. So that's one of the main things I learned from track and field that I've been using in my after track and field work.
Right. Ian, sound like you have a
All right.
question again.
Davian, as you can see, this show is called Real Talk, Real Money. So don't feel like me ever make you get away with the fact that you just talk about, say, boy, you can put away some 401k. I want you to dive deeper into that, what you do right now in terms of me saving some more money and me getting some more money in my pocket. So really and truly, we have to bring you on in another episode we never talk about money, but tonight, no, I just kind of unpack quickly what
Yes.
it is that you do and how you can help us, especially we Jamaican, where kind of not know if we manage money. Because I believe that a lot of us Jamaican, we know if we spend money, but I don't think we know if we manage money.
Well, in order to learn how to manage money, you have to be somebody have to teach you. And as you see, a lot of people, especially athletes, they have a coach. So they go to a track and field coach or a basketball coach or a football coach to learn. But when it comes to their finances, they think they can do it by themselves. And that's where most people fall short because you don't take that extra step to go get you a financial advisor, a financial manager, and they don't want to take that other step because they think having somebody like that is going to be expensive. And so that's one of the biggest myths about money, that if you get somebody that can help advise you or consult you, that it's going to cost you a lot of money. So you just have to connect with the right people. And one of the biggest reasons I got into this industry is because I've seen so many people lately. After I got in, I saw that it happened to you, seeing where he had his money invested, and all of a sudden, poof, the money disappeared. So that's one of the things I wanted to address. I wanted to address athletes, especially our track and field athletes, but any sports, cricket, football, show them where to put their money, how to set up their estate and plan it so that you can pass it on to the next generation, because that's how true wealth is distributed, from passing from one generation to the next. And a lot of people don't have a will in place and certain other things in place for that transition, and they lose that wealth. And so the next generation have to start over. If you notice, some of the richest people in the world, when you look at the Forbes list, it says they inherited their money from Mr. Walton. They inherited their money from Mr. the chocolate bar man. I don't know what them call them. Yeah, Mars chocolate bar, you know? So a lot of the wealth is passed down from generation to generation, and the next generation build it up to another level. And so that's the part that especially Jamaicans and athletes, we have to start learning. We have to learn how to pass on the wealth, because that wealth, when you pass it on, that's how it grows. You don't have to start from zero or negative.
All right, Davian, as I look around, and I don't have to look very far in terms of over the years, we have produced top athletes, top cricketers, you know,
Yes.
footballers, you name it, all the sports, we believe that we have dominated in them. Even the sports that we don't even do in terms of having a training ground, which even bobsled, the world recognized Jamaican from that one main event, that bobsled team there. You know,
Yeah.
we have interviewed the captain on here already. So, you know, we went back, and even that one event is a life-lasting event for us, Jamaican. But do you believe that a lot of our top athletes across all the different um athletics and from football, cricket, all of them have mismanaged, I would say, our influences? Simple mean at one point they were at the top of the game and the world were with them. But
Yeah.
yet at the end of it, they walk away without having a legacy or a cushion in terms of money. If they didn't collect it while they were doing it, then a lot of them fall back and there's nothing there. There's no pillow because there was no one doing that for them. And I know you have to manage your own money. Put it that
Yeah.
way. They hard for you work the money, but means to manage it. Even if you get a coach or something, you have to have something going on. But
Yes.
would you say that a lot of us have mismanaged our influences that we have at the time when we're at our peak?
Oh yeah. So after I retired, I started listening more than talking. When I was running, I was doing a lot of talking, but I didn't listen. And when you listen to, like, I listened to Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan was giving advice to what's his name? I forget the guy that's on TNT that do the basketball, Charles Barkley. And Charles Barkley said he was making a lot of money from Nike, and him and Michael Jordan was making the more money from Nike. And him used to go on vacation in my Mike, and Mike said, "Man, why you always have so much cash?" And I said, "Man, Nike just pay me this amount of money." And him said, Michael Jordan looked at him and said, "But why would you take it in cash?" I must say, you mean why would I take it in cash? You don't take your contract in cash? I said, no. I say, I get options. I said, huh? So I get stock options. And when I started listening to that, I started looking into options. I said, options. And then I realized every time Usain Bolt step on the track, Puma stock went to $250 a share. And if Usain Bolt had ownership in Puma, just like how Michael Jordan say he has ownership in Nike, and every time he win a championship, stock options go up. And when you realize that stock options can 10 times, you can invest in options and get 10 times your money. And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling people to go out and buy stock options. Very risky thing. But what I learned about money from that conversation between those two was that there's different ways to get paid, and sometimes the way you grow up, you only learn one way. You only learn about earning income. You only know about working for your money. But people don't tell you that you can get paid by dividend income. It's still income. But the only thing we know about dividend income is that you have to have a lot of money to make dividend, because if you have a big amount of money, then you get paid more dividends. You have a little bit of money, you're only going to get a little bit of dividend. But the part that a lot of people miss is that even with a little bit of money, the dividend can grow, and your little bit of money can double over time. And so you have to learn how money works. There's a book called How Money Works. You have to go out and research and find out about how things work in life in order to understand it, which is why I say you need a coach. You have to contact somebody that understands this business and that can help set you up. And a lot of people don't invest in stocks.
Ian,
I'm
you
not
have
telling
another
people to
question.
invest in stock. People invest in businesses. But whatever it is, you just have to put your money in a place where you get more return than if you would get from just leaving it in the bank, is all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Davian.
Yes,
Davian,
sir.
if you're supposed to drop one nugget, whether it be a book or is a message on finance, what would that be?
Well, me and my family, especially my brother, they love this book called Who Moved the Cheese. You can Google it. There's a video online.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard about it. But when you watch the video on YouTube about who moved my cheese, it's a very simplistic. It's a book as well. It's very simplistic, but when you understand money and look at what happened in your life, and then rewatch it, and then you can see similarities. You can see yourself as the rat that is trying to find the cheese, or then you start understanding what the cheese is. Is the cheese gold? Is the cheese money? Then all of a sudden your eyes start open up and you start see the world at a totally different thing. So there's a lot of things that's out there, but if you just look at it from a short-minded point of view, you're not going to get it. You have to try put yourself in the place so that you can understand what is really happening in this world.
All right, Davian, we are coming to the end. We're actually at the end of this interview, but as Ian earlier Ian said that we're gonna have to bring you back because the title of the show is Real Money. You know what I mean? With real talk, real money with Ian and Dennis. So we're definitely going to bring you back, and then that way you can talk some more about your business and what you're doing. We can go deeper. But I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being on the show today. The story of Jamaican athletic is not just of medals or world records. It's one of resilience, migration, and identity, right? And while some athletes may choose to wear another country's flag on their chest, their roots often remain deeply in the Caribbean, right? Deeply, they're still Jamaican. Wherever they go, they're still going to be Jamaicans. We're still going to love them and respect them the same. The challenge ahead is finding ways to retain and reinvest in our athletes. That's one of the biggest things that is lacking, even as they navigate the global opportunities. So the event insights remind us that the future of our sports depends not just on speed, but on strategy, support, and staying connected. Right, staying connected to home. So thank you, Davian, for sharing your story and to enlighten us a little bit today, um, and for continuing to inspire the next generation. That's what you're doing, whether it is through financial obligations or financial knowledge, also through your coaching experience. I want to thank you.
Well, thanks, Ian, and thank you, Dennis, for having me on here. So somebody said that this is company, the job that he worked, they gave him the book Who Moved My Cheese. So there's people out there that's checking it out. Please go follow me on YouTube, The Quarter Mile. That's my name. Type in Davian Clarke, The Quarter Mile. Um, every now and then I drop some videos. But I'm going to start rolling out with more financial videos. But maybe I'll just try to get on with Ian and Dennis more often so I can talk some business.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
thanks for having me here. Greatly appreciated the time. And keep doing what you guys are doing. You're on the right path. Just keep speaking your truth. And then just try to impact at least one person. See, I came on here and this man talk about who moved my cheese. So at least I touched one person today.
Yes, yes.
Respect Davian, and just keep the energy going. And as we say, we have to bring you back because that part, real money. We need to have some hard talk about that. So
Mm-hmm.
we just want to thank the audience, everyone that joined tonight. Those who comment, just know that some of those comments will, go in and we'll check them out and we'll respond. And we just want to ask that you continue to support the show. It's young, it's growing, but the intention is that each one will help one, and that's why we bring on people like Davian who have walked the walk already, now able to talk the talk. He's doing it, and there's no other way to grow than to help others grow. And we really appreciate the fact that Davian could take the time out to be here tonight, So we just want to show our respect, not just for this moment, but also for his journey and representing Jamaica as, a great athlete. He has played his part and he has made Jamaica proud over the years. And even I just want to go back and say to that 4x4 team, with Dennis also a part of that, Gregory Harton, you guys, I'm telling you, you have left a mark on our hearts in terms of resilience, to see a team member could get up, roll over, still run with that baton and get to pass it on to another brother. And at the end of it, they all could celebrate, the victory. That's how we want to look at life, that guess what? Even when we fall, get up, man. If you have to roll and get too dirt by your toes, like your shirt or your jersey, get up and know that somebody else waiting on you. Somebody else want to cross that finish line. And at the end of the day, you can celebrate as a team. Too many of us too selfish. It's a one-man thing. No, it's a team thing. And that's why we have show like this. Real talk, real money. Dennis and Ian with our invitee tonight, Davian Clarke. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Take care.